Los Angeles, October 2018. When the oak doors of the Bel Air Country Club swung open, lobby attendant Jennifer Whitmore thought she was seeing the strangest customer of her life. The man appeared to be in his late 60s, maybe 70s. Long brown hair spilled over his shoulders. He wore large, round, black sunglasses that he hadn't removed despite the soft lighting of the lobby. A faded black Sabbath t-shirt, worn jeans, and beat-up sneakers. His walk was slightly unsteady, as if his legs weren't fully obeying him. But what really caught Jennifer off guard was the gaze she could feel, even through those oversized glasses. Tired, a little lost, but carrying a strange warmth. Jennifer had worked at this club for 12 years and could categorize anyone who walked through that door within seconds. This man didn't fit any category. The Bel Air Country Club was one of the most prestigious private clubs in Los Angeles. Membership applications would sit on waiting lists for years, and the annual dues equaled the average American's yearly salary. The walls were painted in soft cream, the floors were Italian marble, and the ceilings were adorned with handcrafted wooden panels. This was a place where wealth spoke quietly, where money didn't make noise, which was exactly why the man in the worn jeans stood out like a typo on a page. Ozzy Osbourne had made a promise to Sharon that morning. He would accept Jack Thompson's golf invitation. Jack was Ozzy's friend of 30 years, a former record label executive. Now retired, he played golf at this club 3 days a week. Ozzy didn't actually like golf, but Jack had insisted. "Come on, mate. You already cancelled the tour. You're just sitting at home staring at the walls. Get some fresh air," he'd said on the phone. Sharon agreed. "Go, Ozzy. Talk to people. It'll be good for you." Ozzy had sighed and accepted. But when Sharon had a business meeting come up at the last minute, Ozzy had to go alone. His driver Tony had dropped him at the door. "Want me to wait inside, boss?" he'd asked, and Ozzy had shaken his head. "No, Jack's inside. Come back in an hour." Now he stood at the entrance, looking around. Jennifer rose from the reception desk and approached the man with a professional smile. But the smile wasn't genuine. Beneath the mask of courtesy lay unease. "Good afternoon, sir. How may I help you?" Ozzy looked at the woman and spoke in that familiar Birmingham accent. "Hey, love, I'm here to meet Jack Thompson. For golf?" Jennifer's eyebrows rose slightly. Jack Thompson was one of the club's most respected members. This man couldn't possibly be his guest. "Jack Thompson, do you have an appointment, sir?" Ozzy rummaged through his pocket, pretending to look for something but came up empty. "Well, Jack called, told me to come. I don't know about any appointment, but he should be here." Jennifer hesitated. The protocol was clear. Guests must be received by members. But this man... Jennifer had done this job for years, and she felt this man didn't belong here. Maybe he'd come to the wrong club. Maybe he was playing a joke. Or maybe, she thought, maybe a homeless person was trying to sneak inside. Jennifer spoke politely but firmly. "Sir, I'll need to call Mr. Thompson to confirm the situation. Would you please wait here?" Ozzy shrugged. "Sure, love, no rush." Jennifer returned to her desk and picked up the phone, but she didn't call Jack Thompson. Instead, she called club manager Richard Harrington. "Mr. Harrington, there's a situation in the lobby. Could you come down?" Ozzy waited. A few members were sitting in the lobby, all covertly studying him. A woman in her 60s, wearing a pink Chanel jacket, diamond earrings, and a perfect manicure, whispered to the man beside her. "Robert, look at that man. How did he get in here?" Robert, a grey-haired, bronze-skinned man in a Ralph Lauren polo shirt, narrowed his eyes. "Must be homeless, or maybe a gardener. They should call security." Ozzy couldn't hear their whispers, but he could feel their stares. He'd felt people watching him his whole life, on stages, on the street, everywhere. But these stares were different. There was no admiration, only judgment. Richard Harrington entered the lobby 3 minutes later. 55 years old, impeccable grey suit, polished shoes, handmade silk tie. His face wore a professional mask, but calculations turned behind his eyes. Jennifer quickly briefed him on the situation. Richard took a deep breath and approached Ozzy. A fake smile on his face, his voice sweet but ice-cold underneath. "Good afternoon, sir. I'm Richard Harrington, the club manager. How may I assist you?" Ozzy looked at the man. "Hey, mate, I'm here to meet Jack Thompson. We're playing golf. Richard nodded. Mr. Thompson isn't at the club today, sir. I don't see your name on the appointment list either. Perhaps you were given the wrong date. Ozzy frowned. Jack had said today, he was sure of it. Jack should be here today. We talked last night. Richard's smile froze. Sir, Mr. Thompson called the club this morning and cancelled his golf appointment. A family emergency came up. Ozzy was surprised. Jack could have called to tell him. Maybe he should check his phone. He reached into his pocket, but realized he'd left his phone in the car. Damn, he muttered. Richard had been waiting for this moment. Sir, unfortunately we cannot admit guests without their members present. That's our club policy. I'm sure you understand. His voice was polite, but the message was clear. Leave. Ozzy looked around. The people in the lobby were still watching him. The woman in the pink jacket was trying to take his photo with her phone, probably to send her friends a message about the strange person who showed up at the club. Ozzy sighed. Maybe he should just go. He'd call Sharon, head home. But just as he was about to turn, the large television screen in the corner of the lobby caught his attention. A familiar face had appeared on the screen. His own face. On the television, VH1's Ozzy Osbourne Prince of Darkness documentary was starting. On screen, a young Ozzy was performing wildly on stage, thousands of fans screaming. The caption read, "One of the most iconic figures in rock and roll history." Ozzy looked at the screen, then at Richard. Richard was also looking at the screen, but hadn't made the connection yet. The woman in the pink jacket, however, dropped her phone. Was the man on screen the same man in the lobby? Was that possible? A strange silence fell over the lobby. Everyone was looking at the screen, then at Ozzy, then back at the screen. The color began to slowly drain from Richard Harrington's face, but no one had said a word yet. And at that exact moment, an unexpected figure walked in through the club's back entrance. Jack Thompson. In his 70s, silver-haired, bronze-skinned, wearing expensive golf attire. He held a cell phone in his hand and wore a worried expression. "Ozzy," he called out as he entered the lobby. "Mate, I'm so sorry. My daughter called, my grandkid got sick, I rushed to the hospital, I tried calling you but you didn't answer." Ozzy turned to his friend and shrugged. "Left my phone in the car, Jack. No worries. How's your grandkid?" Jack looked relieved. "Fine, just a high fever. It's down now. By the way, did they make you wait out here? Why didn't you go inside?" Jack looked around and saw Richard Harrington's frozen face. Then he noticed the television screen on the wall. On screen, Ozzy was singing to a crowd of 100,000 at Madison Square Garden. A slow smile spread across Jack's face. "Richard," he said, turning to the club manager. "Let me introduce my guest. This is Ozzy Osbourne, one of the most famous rock stars in the world, Grammy winner, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, a man who's sold over 100 million albums." Richard Harrington's face turned white as chalk. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Jennifer, the receptionist, stood frozen behind her desk, her hands trembling. The woman in the pink jacket nearly fell off her chair trying to pick up her phone from the floor. The other members in the lobby exchanged glances, their faces wearing a mixture of shock and shame. The silence was so thick you could hear the ticking of the antique clock on the wall. Richard finally composed himself and swallowed. "Mr. Osbourne, I'm so sorry. I didn't recognize you. Please, come inside. Let us arrange our best table for you. Champagne on the house, as a guest of the club, of course." His voice was trembling, the professional mask on his face shattered to pieces. Now there was just a man standing before them, terrified of losing his job. Ozzy looked at the man. There was no anger in his eyes, just a tired understanding. He'd experienced moments like this throughout his life. People had judged him by his appearance, then changed their tune once they learned who he was. In his youth, this would have made him angry. Now it just made him sad. "Mate," Ozzy said, his voice soft but clear, "I don't want champagne. I was just going to play golf with my friend." Jack stepped in. "Ozzy's right, Richard. We're just going to play golf. But maybe from now on you'll treat your guests a bit more kindly. Not everyone has to be famous to deserve respect." Richard lowered his head. "Of course, Mr. Thompson. You're absolutely right. This will never happen again." But Ozzy didn't leave right away. Something had caught his attention. In the corner of the lobby, behind a large potted plant, a figure sat. A young man, maybe 25, wearing a club staff uniform. He was holding a broom, but wasn't sweeping. Just sitting, staring blankly at the wall. Dried tear tracks marked his face. Ozzy turned to Jack. "Wait here a minute, mate." And to everyone's surprise in the lobby, he walked toward the young man. Richard Harrington panicked. "Mr. Osbourne, he's just cleaning staff. We won't let him bother you." But Ozzy ignored him. He reached the young man and sat down in the chair beside him. The young man raised his head and looked at this strange-looking old man with surprise. "Hey, mate," Ozzy said. "I'm Ozzy. What's your name?" The young man hesitated. "Matteo, sir." His accent was slight, but his voice was very tired. "Matteo, are you okay? Looks like you've been crying." Matteo was taken aback. He'd worked at this club for 3 years, and no member had ever asked him such a question. None of them had even noticed his existence. He was just a shadow who swept, who cleaned, who remained invisible. I'm fine, sir, just—" He paused. "A personal problem." Ozzy waited. He didn't push, as if he had all the time in the world. Everyone in the lobby was watching them. Richard Harrington was sweating. Jack Thompson smiled slightly. He knew his friend. Ozzy had always been like this. Finally, Matteo spoke. "My mother is sick, sir. In Mexico. Kidney failure. She needs dialysis, but we can't afford it. I work here, I send money, but it's not enough. This morning my sister called. My mother was taken to the hospital." His voice trembled. "And here I am, holding a broom." Ozzy nodded, a gesture showing he understood. "How old is your mother, Matteo?" he asked softly. 54, sir," Matteo answered. Ozzy took a deep breath. "My mother got sick too. A long time ago. Back then I was just like you. Broke, helpless. The worst feeling is not being able to help." Matteo raised his head and looked into this man's eyes. There was no judgment there, no pity either. Just recognition. The gaze of someone who knew this pain. Ozzy pulled a business card from his pocket. It had only a name and phone number on it. "This is my assistant's number. Call her tomorrow. Tell her your name. Whatever your mother needs for her treatment, we'll take care of it." Matteo froze. "Sir, you don't even know me. Why would you do this?" Ozzy stood up, his knees aching slightly. The traces of his recent surgery still fresh. "Life has given me a lot. Most of it I didn't deserve. Maybe that's why I want to give back." Matteo took the card, his hands trembling. "Thank you, sir. But your name— Who are you?" Ozzy smiled, that famous crooked smile of his. "Just Ozzy. Call tomorrow, okay?" And he turned to Jack. "Come on, mate. We were going to play golf." As they were leaving the lobby, Richard Harrington came running up to them. "Mr. Osbourne, please, we can organize a special dinner for you this evening. The club's finest wines, a private menu, everything on the house." His voice was almost pleading. Perhaps he was trying to somehow make up for this embarrassment, to ensure the story would be told differently. Ozzy stopped and looked at the man. "Richard, let me ask you something. How many years has Matteo worked here?" Richard was taken aback. "Matteo, the cleaner," he stammered. "I don't know, 2 or 3 years maybe." Ozzy stepped closer. "And did you know his mother was sick?" Richard's face tensed. "No, sir, I don't concern myself with staff's personal lives." Ozzy shook his head. "That's the problem, mate. You don't see people. I came here today, and you didn't see me either. You saw my clothes, you saw my hair, but you didn't see me. You don't see Matteo either. To you, he's just a shadow holding a broom." Richard didn't know what to say. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Finally, all he could manage was, "I'm sorry." Ozzy shrugged. "Don't apologize to me. Apologize to Matteo. And maybe tomorrow, say hello to him. Use his name. People like hearing their names." As Jack and Ozzy walked toward the golf course, Jack turned to his friend. "Ozzy, you never change." Ozzy laughed. "Why would I change, Jack? I've gotten old. The illnesses keep piling up, but inside I'm the same. Still that poor kid from Birmingham. I just have more money now." The golf was enjoyable. Ozzy played terribly as always, but he didn't care. The sun was warm, the air was clean, and he was spending time with his friend. As evening approached and they were leaving the club, Matteo was waiting at the door. When he saw Ozzy, he came running over. "Sir, I looked you up online. You're Ozzy Osbourne, the lead singer of Black Sabbath, a legendary rock star. Ozzy smiled. Legendary? I'm just an old man, Matteo. Call that number tomorrow, okay? Matteo nodded, his eyes welling up. Sir, I still don't understand. Why would someone like you care about me? Ozzy stopped and looked at the young man. Matteo, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. Drugs, alcohol, neglecting my family. No need to go through the whole list. But I learned one thing. If you can do good, do it. You don't know what tomorrow brings. Believe me, last year I was nearly dying. Now I'm here, the sun is shining, and I can help your mother. Why wouldn't I? Matteo couldn't say anything. He just leaned forward and clasped Ozzy's hand. Gracias, señor. Gracias. When he got in the car, the driver Tony looked in the mirror. Good day, boss. Ozzy looked out the window. The sun was setting, the sky painted in orange and purple. Yeah, Tony, good day. When he got home, Sharon was waiting at the door. How was the golf? Ozzy hugged his wife. The golf was terrible, but I did something good. Sharon raised her eyebrows. What did you do, Ozzy? Ozzy answered. I helped a kid. His mother is sick. Sharon smiled. She knew her husband. From the outside, everyone saw the Prince of Darkness, the dark, crazy, dangerous rock star. But Sharon knew the truth. Inside, there was still that poor kid from Birmingham, a man who wanted to help people, who wanted to be loved, who valued simple things. 3 months later, a message came from Ozzy's assistant. Matteo's mother had had surgery and was recovering. Matteo had been promoted and was now working as a waiter in the club's restaurant. He'd also sent a photo, him with his mother, both of them smiling. On the back of the photo was a note in Spanish. Thank you for changing our lives. My mother prays for you every night. Ozzy placed that photo on his desk, next to the Grammy Awards, among the gold plaques. One day Sharon asked, Why did you put that photo there? Ozzy shrugged. Because Sharon, all of these, he gestured at the awards, are just metal and glass. But that photo is something real. A mother getting better, a son smiling. Music is beautiful, awards are beautiful, but touching people's lives, that's what's real. July 22nd, 2025. Matteo was now running a small restaurant in San Diego. When he heard the news of Ozzy's death, he dropped everything and drove to Los Angeles. Thousands of people were at the memorial service, rock stars, celebrities, politicians. Matteo stood at the very back in his black suit, holding a single white rose. After the ceremony ended, he approached Sharon. Mrs. Osbourne, I'm Matteo. 7 years ago at a country club. Sharon smiled and cut him off. I know who you are. Ozzy would look at your mother's photo every Christmas. She hugged Matteo. Don't thank me. He never forgot you. Don't you forget him either, okay? That night, as Matteo was driving home, Dreamer started playing on the radio. He pulled the car over and cried. The man who had asked, Are you okay? To a cleaner no one else could see 7 years ago was gone now, but the light he left behind would burn inside Matteo forever.